Get your pens out, get your notepads out. I'd like to introduce you to our store management team. So we're going to come out one by one. So I'd like to go with Mr. Mitch Cook, Bridge Street Market. Come on out, sir. Let's go, Mr. Rob Blatchai. He's a store director for Capital City Market in Lansing. Come on out. It is my honor and privilege to introduce for the first time, a lot of you guys have not met, the new store that we're opening in Cleveland in January of this year. He's been working very, very hard. I will tell you, it is not easy opening these stores in the beginning. We get hired a year before we open them. We find vendors. We hit the streets. We get partners, building the store, dealing with logistics and everything like that. I was in this seat about 3 years ago, so I got a lot of love and respect for this man. So everybody, Mr. Alan Jordan coming out from Cleveland. And finally, the OG of the group. She's been here the longest. She's one of the originators. If you have ever been to Woodward Corner Market, you know her because she's always there. She's always doing great things in the community. Miss Natalie Rubino. There we go. Yeah. So these are some of the topic points we're going to talk about here. You guys can have a seat. And then we're kind of going to go from there. So we're going to start with Natalie and what she has. So Natalie, if you're ready to go right ahead.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's so nice to see some familiar faces today, but at the same point in time, some new faces. This is going to be an exciting day. I think it's already been a great morning. Would you agree? Yeah. So what I really wanted to talk about today, and on the behalf of myself and the rest of the store director group today, is what does it take to become part of one of our market format stores? What does it look like, and what is that conversation all about? So when I think about that, the first thing I think about is how do you connect? I go back 4 years ago when we opened Woodward Corner Market in Royal Oak back in 2019. And the four walls weren't built. I didn't have any customers. So for about a good 4 months, I had an opportunity to get out into the community, get out into the field, and meet new businesses, old businesses, get into some of our competitors, and see these local vendors that we wanted to, myself and my team, to be part of Woodward Corner Market. And it was awesome. Why was it awesome? Because I had that opportunity to sit down and meet and talk and really take that true time. Well, here I am now, 4 years later, and the store's open to our customers, and we have a daily operation. We're busy. So what does it look like now for us and for you if you're interested in being part of one of our stores? My best advice and feedback would be set up some time, because each and every one of you take time to meet with us and invest in us. We want to do the same. We want the same, and we want to invest time in you. So whether it's sending an email or a phone call or dropping off a business card and a sample, which we love samples, and setting up a 30-minute to hour window we can put on the calendar so we can sit down, whether it's in our office or coffee shop or in your business, and we can have a true, authentic discussion. The last thing I want to see is for you to come in, drop off your card, and it be lost and forgotten. You are all very important to us, and so we want to make sure that we take that time and have that authentic discussion. So that's my advice. Let's sit down, let's meet for 30 minutes, let's meet for an hour, and let's have a great discussion. So when we have that great discussion is the meet and greet and telling the story. I love this part. I did this before we opened, so did these guys, and we're still doing it today. When we have that 30-minute window and we sit down and we talk, I'd love to hear about you. Tell me about you. Tell me about your business, how it's grown, and what desire do you have to be part of Woodward Corner Market? And at the same point in time, we get an opportunity to introduce us, my team. Who is Woodward Corner Market? What are we? What is our culture, and what do we value? What are our 3 pillars? Local, value, fresh. What is local? It's community. So we want you to know that. And then at that time, we get to tell you what we're looking for. The best part of it is telling the story. The true passion that you have behind your product. Why are you passionate about it? What inspired you to grow, and how did you become successful? So I think that's so important. So we're sitting down, we have the conversation, we tell the stories, we talk. But along with that, and like any business, there's expectations, guidelines, and capabilities, right? So that's our time when we get to sit down and take our time and talk about the expectations. And there's quite a bit, and we can have that dialogue. But for example, packaging. Does your packaging meet Meijer guidelines? If it's a food item, do you have a valid food license? These are all requirements that maybe you don't know about, and we can help and educate you during that discussion. The other piece is UPCs. We need UPCs to track our inventory and your inventory and movement through our POS system. If you don't have UPCs, we can obviously help you and guide you to own your own UPC and barcode. Is your business insured? That's important. We need to make sure that your business is insured. Another big topic that I like to talk about during this 30-minute to hour window is cost and retails. I'd like to identify your cost and talk about it. Is it an achievable cost for us? And with that achievable cost, can we come together and agree upon a retail that's good with our market, that still shouts value, and that also is competitive in the market area and in our industry. We still want to be competitive and shout value. So that retail and cost discussion is definitely critical. Another topic that's important during that time when we sit down is deliveries. That's a big one for us. Do our deliveries meet the demand of what we need to have the product on our shelf on an everyday basis? What we don't want to see is the product come in, we drop it off, and for 2 or 3 months, we're like, well, where is this product at? And then we're calling and we're emailing. We don't want to see that. We want to work together to figure out what is the best way for you to deliver your product to our store, whether it's delivering direct on your own. There are many distribution companies that you might know of, like Carmela or Lipari, that can help you with distribution to meet the demand. And then also you could even go FedEx or UPC. There's many different areas, and I know you guys might know some of them, but we're also there during that discussion to guide you on what the best way is to deliver. Along with delivering is ordering. What are we passionate about? We're passionate about being 100% in stock in our stores because we want to drive loyalty with our customers. We want to drive growth, and we want you to do the same. And so that ordering, what does that look like? I don't have a magic answer. I think during that discussion, when we sit down and talk, we identify what's the best way for you to order. Do you call us every Monday? Do we call you every Tuesday? Do we send you an email? Do we say, hey, I need this product ASAP? I mean, whatever the situation is, we want to make sure it helps us sustain in stock so we can set you up for success, and the same for us as well. So that timing piece and delivery is very critical. Along with in stock, you're going to hear me say a lot of that, is merchandising and marketing. Your first delivery, and I'll go back about a week ago, we acquired a new bakery vendor, and it was their first time. We received them through our back door. Everything worked out great. My team, myself, met with the vendor, and we went out into the sales floor, and we found the best way to merchandise their product. Because when you're new in our store, it's so important to shout and say, hi, I'm a new vendor at Woodward Corner Market, and let's go to market and let's have fun. So merchandising is so important. Whether we highlight you in line, eye level, on a wing or on an end cap, do you have a display, a refrigerator, or a rack? Anything that we can say that you're new and shout it. Along with that is marketing, and you're going to hear a lot about marketing and the strategies from our team today, which will be great. But when you first come into our store, what we talk about again at that discussion, that 30-minute discussion, is how can we highlight and shout you and say you're new? It's so important to us. We're so proud to have new vendors join our store. So whether it's signage or social media posting or you posting your product to us, all of that I think is so important. And the last and the most important that I'm truly passionate about is making it fun together. How do we do that? It's all about engagement. And you might hear each and every one of us talk about that today, and that's okay, because it's about the partnership. When you're new to our store and we see you and we talk and we have fun and then we don't see you again, I don't feel that there's partnership. So that engagement is so important. demoing, coming in and sampling, joining us at an event. We have many events that we engage in. And when you do that, you'll be surprised how much movement you sell. On a Sunday, when a vendor comes in and samples one of their products, the next day, Monday, they have to come and deliver more because it's guaranteed movement and growth by shouting your product. That partnership has to be authentic. The only way it's going to be authentic is if we communicate, respect, and work with each other as a team. And most importantly, that we set each other up for success. So thank you guys so much for today. Pleasure. Looking forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you again, Natalie, for that. I'm going to kick it over to Mr. Allen.
Hi. So it's great to meet everyone. My name is Alan Jordan. I am the store director for the Fairfax Market opening in January. So I'm going to talk to you guys about everyone's favorite thing, paperwork, right? Who doesn't love it? So to get set up to be a vendor with us, it's really 3 steps. And so we're going to talk about it at a high level. If we get in the weeds, we'll be here all day. I don't want to keep you guys here all day. So we'll talk about it at a high level. Good opportunity, though, for you guys to ask questions. Use the QR code, submit some questions, and we can try to answer them as best we can. So first step, VIM requirements, right? So what is VIM? First question, vendor information management. So you might not be able to read all of that, but essentially it's a bunch of tabs that you're going to have to fill out. And this is all the paperwork, essentially, to complete this first step. It's going to be your banking information, right? Who's doing this for the love of the game, or who's doing this to make money, right? So you got to make sure you put your banking information in. It's one of the most common issues that we find in vendor applications is they don't put their their banking information. So there's no routing number, there's no account number, things like that. We need it to make sure you guys get paid. Shipping points. So where is your product being produced? Where is it being distributed out of? We need to have that information so we can follow up if there's any kind of issues or concerns. Your W-8 or your W-9. There's an option on that application that says, do not select this, internal use only. Probably 20% of the vendors that apply select do not use this. So you follow the directions. The great thing that we do too is we give you guys guides. If you follow along with those guides, it's going to cover the basic and bare minimum information that you need to get your application completed. So you get your application completed, it's submitted, it's approved. Yay, all right. Next step, your new item submission sheet. So it's a basic Excel sheet. It's going to be your product information. So your UPCs. It's going to be your case pack. How many come in a case, right? So is it 1, is it 12? We need to have that information so we can properly receive and account for your product and, again, pay you for the accurate amount. Your case cost. You heard cost a little bit, and you're going to hear it some more. How much does it cost us, right? So this is what we're asking because our cost is going to be different than your cost. It should be different, right? Because if you're submitting the same cost, you guys aren't making any money. Again, we're not doing this for the love of the game. We're doing it to make money. So you have to have accurate case costing. You're going to have accurate unit costing that will come out of that case. Your suggested retail. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to work with you guys, and we're going to set retail that makes sense for us in the stores. But we need to make sure that we have an accurate retail from the word go. The last item on this is direct margin. Direct margin is how much of a percentage that we are making off the products that we sell. Once that is all completed, that gets submitted in. We move on to the last step, which is PIM. Probably the hardest part of the vendor setup process. What PIM stands for is Product Information Management. So this is all the details, and the devil's in the details regarding your products. If you look across on the slide, you'll see multiple tabs that have numbers on it, right? So those tabs are the ones that you need to complete. You have a to-do tab. You have a product tab, case pack list tab, required tab, and marketing data. So for most vendors, these are the tabs that you have to complete. Some common roadblocks and stumbling challenges that people have, product dimensions. How tall is your product? How wide? How deep would it sit on the shelf? This is important for planogramming purposes. When we are building out our planograms, we need to know how your product would fit on the shelf so we can properly allocate space for it. How much can I talk about case pack list tab? Let me tell you. So case pack list tab, it doesn't show as required, right? There's no number up there, but it is a required tab. And this is, again, a lot of details around your product. This is information that is critical. So when we receive your products, we have to have accurate case pack information. So that's how much a case weighs. That's the gross weight. So the gross weight means how much the product weighs, including your packaging. Your net weight, how much the product weighs itself. The cost of the case is loaded in there. So again, if you don't have accurate costing, you don't have the accurate information in that system, you're not going to be paid correctly. So case pack information is critical. Cannot stress that enough. Marketing data tab. Now that's the fun tab, right? So with being a vendor with us, you have the opportunity to sell your products on our digital partner spaces. So e-commerce, Instacart, Shipped, those different types of platforms, right? Marketing data allows you to sell yourself, sell your product, right? That gives you the chance to tell the story. Who's going to be the best advocate for your products? It's you guys, right? You know your products better than anyone else. So that allows you guys that opportunity to sell yourselves, sell that product. You can put as much information in there or as little. If you just put your product name in there, guess what? People are just going to see that. But if you tell that story, right? Your passion, your pride, your love for your products, that's your chance to sell it. Once you sell yourself and you get all this completed, your products would be set up in the system. Now, the great thing is this system has a lot of guides, a lot of information. How many folks here are vendors with us currently? Okay, so you guys have gone through this process, right? It can be a little bit challenging. It can be a little bit tough at times. But there's several different options and resources available for you guys to utilize to help you get through this. Our VendorNet system has tons of guides that are available. Our inventory managers are fantastic resources. Each store has an inventory manager. A lot of them are here in this room right now. They are great resources to help you navigate through these different steps and stages in the system. The other thing that we do is send out you guides. There's a guide for that vendor application in Vim. There's several guides for the PIM system as well. If you follow along with those guides, it will help you tremendously. I cannot stress enough, take your time, slow down, follow the directions. Because if you go in thinking you know half of the information you need to and you're going to try and make it up as you go or just see what happens, you might not ever get set up. I've been doing this effectively for the last year, setting up local vendors. I've had probably conversations with over 300 vendors. Out of those 300 vendors that have said, hey, we want to do this, probably 80 or so are stuck in some stage of the process. Why? Because they don't want to communicate. They don't want to reach out and say, hey, I've got a question. I need some help with this. Or, hey, can you help me take a look at this? I can't figure out my costing. We are really committed to helping vendors and helping them through this process, but it's a two-way street, right? We need your guys' help because if you guys want to be vendors with us, you guys have to put that work in too. You have to make sure that you're communicating. I have a vendor right now, I've been reaching out for a month and a half just to get step 2 done, to get that new item submission sheet. They took the time, that vendor initial application, it's no more than an hour to get done, from start to finish. If you have all your information, you're good to go. But at that point, if I'm reaching out for a month and a half, what kind of vendor are they going to be, right? If we don't reach out to you guys for a month and a half, you're going to be like, why aren't you buying my product? We need to sell some stuff, right? Communication, it's so critical. So if you have questions, you have concerns, you reach out, but you have to make sure you follow those directions. I cannot stress that enough. The tools are there, the guides are there, the information's there. The resources are available. Ultimately, it's in your guys' hands to make it happen for yourselves. If you get to this step, you're ready to go with us. You need to make sure you do this work. You follow the steps, you get your products loaded in. If you want to load in additional products, have that conversation with the team. Then you just skip step 1 and you do 2 and 3, and there you go. Now you got more products in the store. But as a whole, the system is fun to navigate, right? But it's such a great resource for you guys because it gets your products loaded in the system. And it's a great experience too because this is the same system that we're using for our super centers, right? So you're getting real world experience with a major platform that is only going to benefit you and help you guys in the long term. So I appreciate your time. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. Thank you.
Good job.
He killed it, didn't he? That was pretty good. I like that. I'd like to introduce again for the second time, Mr. Rob Achai, my guy, Rob.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure of mine to be up here talking to all of you guys. So many familiar faces that I already know in our stores, faces that I haven't seen in a while, and new faces that I really hope that we get a chance to connect and possibly hold products in our stores in the future. So with Market Format, one of our pillars that we lean on every day is local. And it's a loaded word. You know, local can be a lot of different things. To us, it's our communities. It's our communities in which we serve and try to uplift every single day. It's our team that we believe in and empower to do all the right things in our stores and that you would be connecting with on a daily basis. But it's also our vendors. So vendors is very, very, very important to us. We lean on local in our stores, putting local products on our shelves and trying to sell local in our stores. And we hope to have you guys in our stores in the near future. Most of you have products that you're looking to possibly sell to us, products that you believe in, products that you are proud of, products you put countless hours into developing, creating, and really want in the stores. You all have a dream. You have a dream to possibly expand your business, expand into maybe a farmer's market, maybe into market format, maybe into super center level, maybe continuing to grow your brand. And we want to be along the way to help you with that. Congratulations. You guys have taken the first hard step in this process, being here and being ready for that journey. So congratulations. That doesn't mean that the hard work ends. We're not sitting down and collecting a paycheck and taking money in. There's still a lot more to do along the way. But your journey to this point is very important, and you guys have taken great first steps in that. So congratulations with that. The other part that I do want to talk about with this journey is one thing that Natalie beautifully said. This needs to be fun. We got to have a good time with this. We got to enjoy what we're doing with this product. This is not supposed to be a hard, challenging process that we get stuck up all the way along the way. We want to have fun, and we want to do it together. We want to grow your brand in this process. So you heard a lot from Natalie about coming and pitching products to us. The scariness of what Alan has told us, W9s, case packs, UPCs, cost, direct margin. Yeah, it actually is scary as hell. Yes, that is true. But we're along the way to help you get to that point. And once you get to that point and you are in our stores and ready to start selling, that's where three pieces that I'd like to talk about come into play so that you can continue your success in our market and continue to grow, hopefully, if that's your goal, future and past our market level. So one promise that I'm going to make, and I think I talk for everybody on this stage, is we want a vendor for the long haul. We don't want a vendor for today. We want a vendor that's going to come in and be a partner with us. We don't want somebody that's going to drop product on our shelves, set it there for months, never communicate with that person. That's not who we want in our stores. We want a partner that we can communicate with and be part of. So there's three things I want to talk about. One is pricing, cost, retail. This is probably the most important one for y'all in this auditorium to take into account first and foremost. A lot of you guys are already in our stores and have already gone through this process, but this is a very important one that's going to help the success of your business and your products going forward. So, first question that I ask most people talks about transportation, distribution, delivery. How are you going to get these products to me? What are we going to do there? How are we going to make this work? It's number two I want to talk to you about. And the last one, probably my favorite one, the one that I think that we sometimes falter on along the process is communication. We're not going to get anywhere unless we're talking, communicating, trying to figure out how to advance your products in our stores together. So pricing, number one, the most important piece. We are working in this together. Of course, we want to make money, right? But I think all of you want to make money too. Be honest with yourself. Be real with yourself. Some of you probably already have a pricing model built out. What does every single thing cost? What is it going to cost me to sell it to you? What do you want me to retail it at? Others maybe don't, and that's okay. We're along to help you with that process. Everything's expensive, from materials to packaging to labeling, getting the product to us, your labor in putting it together. You need to take a few bucks home at the end of the day, right? We want to be there in that original communication and that original talk to help you understand what that looks like. We both have to benefit from this product, and we want to help you with that benefit. What was I at? Retail. Retail is another one that we're going to talk about a little bit more going forward. We want to help with retail as well. We have to make our margin points. There's different ways to sell in our stores, and we can kind of assist in developing what that retail cost looks like. Some people already have products that they're selling, and we don't want to vary too much from what that retail already looks like. Second piece I want to talk about, transportation and delivery. Your success is based on the products that you have being available on our shelves. Think about a consumer coming in that shops weekly in our stores. If your product is there one week, not the next week, it is the next week, it is not the following week, you're going to deter that customer for wanting to come to find that product. That's a communication that you have to have with us, and you have to decide how you're going to get that product on our shelves, whether that be through direct store delivery, you're bringing it right to me, receiving it through the back door, whether that be you shipping it through FedEx or UPS, whether that be you using another distribution partner in the process. All of those are okay, and all of those processes can work. As you grow, that may change. Right now, you may be bringing me product. In the future, Mitch is going to do some talking about future growth and what that looks like. That may change. You may have to go to a distribution facility. You may need to open those lines of communication with someone else to really help you continue to grow. But any of those options work. It's something that you have to be real and honest with yourself. Can you get that product to the stores? We all have time constraints. A lot of us in this room are starting this and possibly have another job, maybe two, maybe a family to take care of. Are you able to bring the product to the store? Do you need to ship it? Do you need to find another distribution partner? Think about that, be honest with yourself, and figure out what the best way to get the product is so it's completely available to everybody. One other piece that I want to touch on in this is don't overcommit. It doesn't always happen where more stores equal more sales. If you're at one of our buildings, you want to be at the other three. Let's kind of talk that through. Let's figure that out. It's not always the best move for you. You don't want to overcommit to something that you're not going to be able to fulfill that need. It's going to really put a bunch of different pieces in jeopardy there. The right steps at the right pace is really what I'm asking. We want a partner for the long haul. We don't want a partner just for today. Last piece, my absolute favorite, is communication. We're not going to be able to go very far unless you're communicating with us and we're communicating with you. When you get in our stores, learn the best contacts to have, whether that be your area lead, who's going to be your first line of defense that you're going to continue to be able to talk to for placement on the shelf, our inventory leads who are there to help you out along the way, our assistant store managers, our store managers. We want to make sure that we are helping you communicate with us, and we're doing the same thing. Give us feedback. Let us give you feedback. Let's figure out the best way to grow your brand in our stores. We want you to win. We really want you to win along this process, and we want you to continue to grow. Don't be scared. Get emails, get phone numbers, get contacts for us. Don't be scared to do this. We want to. You guys want to grow just as much as we want to see you grow. And the last piece on that is demos. We want to get you guys in there, demoing our stores, demoing your products in our stores. Talk with your contacts in our store to make that happen. We can't force anybody in this room to want to make money. We want you all to succeed. We can't force it to happen. Understand your business. Understand your growth plan. Have a great plan. And we plan on having you guys as a vendor for the long haul with us. Thank you.
All right. Good morning / afternoon. I'm Mitch Cook, Bridge Street Market Store Director. We've heard some great stories. The fun with Natalie coming into the store. They love your product. The hatred of going through VendorNet with Alan. Now, partnerships with you, coming into the market, the product's hopefully on the shelf and doing well, and now you got to look forward, right? So, here I am. Future growth, right? I've been so focused on everyone else's growth, I forgot to grow myself. So, hats off to you guys. Sorry, I had to get it out of the way. Anyways, you're in one store. Hopefully, you're ready to expand across Michigan and be in all 4 of our stores. But you got to think about how your business is starting to change, right? You're a 1 or 2 person business. You're the cook. You're the trainer. You're the marketer. You're the CEO. You're the CFO. I'm sitting here looking at Marcus, right? We started with you. You brought your cheesecake in. You put it on a platter for us, and it was the most delicious cheesecake I had, right? So how do we get it from that plate onto the shelf and then get you to continue your growth? That's what we're so focused on. Like Natalie said, she's so focused on local in these markets. We all are. You are very important to us, and we're here for that journey. So as you've hopefully started to densify in your markets, right? Of course, I always want you to stay with Meijer, but you got to look at other accounts that are hyper-local to where you're based out of, because it's not going to make sense for you to only be in 3 or 4 stores, being all the way across Michigan. So as much as I would love to say I have 150 market format stores for you to go in, I don't have that. I got 4. I got a 5th coming in Cleveland, right? So make sure you're densifying your business so that you're understanding that you can get to a certain capacity. Start looking at your new business plan. Obviously, you can train yourself, but can you train other people? And if you can't, who are you going to find that can? You got to teach somebody your recipe. You got to find a co-packer possibly, right? Things are changing within your business. You've made it into retail. You've hopefully made it into other accounts. Now you got to start thinking about the future. Who is going to help you run that business? Who is going to staff it? Staffing is competitive these days. Are you paying the right wages for the job? Are you at industry standard or above? Have you set that expectation high if you're going to pay a little bit more, right? You don't want turnover. Training is difficult. It costs money. It takes time from you. It takes time from your business. So if you hire somebody, they need to be the right person for the right job. And you have to have the right business plan going into that. And cover it with your peers, right? Your peers, those people that you've met at the farmer's market, that you've met inside the stores, those are the people that have probably already walked that path, or they're going to be walking that path soon, and you're there together. Talk to us. I can't tell you how many people have come into my office, sat down with me with their future business plan, and not only did we look at the people side, but we looked at the number side. We got to make sure that it all matches up. What is it going to look like when you get the 5 stores, 10, 20, 500? What is your true goal? Is it to be regionally focused, nationally? Do you want to go worldwide? Don't set the bar too high, but you got to know where you got to go. Everybody in your company has to have the same goal. It's the only way to achieve it. Like I said, we're all about partnerships. I think everybody said it. I don't want to steal Marcus's thunder because I know he's really going to hit on the partnership. But truthfully, when you come into this and you go through that beginning piece, that's like the funnest part of it right there, is just learning your family's recipe or how you've come up with your product and why you want to sell it to others around you. So after you go through that, it's a true partnership with us. Family is embedded deeply within Meijer and especially in Market Format. We have 55 team members, maybe 60 within our stores. We all know each other. We all know all the local vendors. And if not, we're excited to learn that new story because you are your best salesman. But if we understand your product, that's what we do within the store as well. When the customers come and talk to us, that's how we help sell your product. All right, so we're in distribution, right? You've been self-distributing probably at this point. So maybe you're staying close to home. You're going to continue to self-distribute. Maybe the cost hasn't changed too much for you. But now you hit 10 stores. Now you hit 50. Now maybe you just made it into every single supercenter and you're in 270. Are you going to self-distribute to 270 stores? Probably not, right? So are you going to do it yourself with your company? Are you going to buy the transportation vehicles? Are you going to hire merchandisers and salesmen to go out there? Or are you going to have a distribution company do that for you, right? So either way, you're going to start incurring additional costs. And those are going to be negatively or positively impacting your company depending on what the cost is. So, you know, if you're taking on a distributor, that might be 22, 25% that is now added onto the cost of the product. Maybe you get a great deal and you're at 20. I don't know. But these days, it seems to be that's where the numbers are running. And now somebody else is selling your product too. So how do you teach them about your product? These are all just things that you have to think about as you expand, and you don't want to go too fast. Don't overexpand your business. Don't overexpose it. Make sure you have a very, very good, thought-out, written business plan that you've covered with multiple people, and everybody thinks that this is the right way for your company. Oh, and so the other piece I wanted to get to, sometimes whenever we start in market format, you set up with like a case pack of 1 or 6, but as you expand, maybe that's not the most cost-effective way to send your product to stores, so it might change to 12 or 24. So it's just something that you should think about for industry standard on your product. Packaging. So we spoke about it earlier, but you will notice as companies grow, they start out with one style of packaging, and then it goes to another and another. So even national brands, right? It's never good enough. You got to find a different way to catch somebody's eye. So maybe you add a window to it. Maybe it's different coloration to grab your consumer's attention, right? Look at the national brands that are comparable to the products that you're selling and steal their ideas, right? They're paying people a lot of money to figure out the right way to do it. And you can be 2 weeks behind them, right? It's okay. So, like I said, you have to always be forward thinking. You have to think about what's right for your business, the future of your business. Stealing from people around you is okay. Learning from peers is okay, right? Let them do the research. You're back there in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? Or working there, putting it together. Let somebody else do it for you, right? Yeah, I know. All right, have your build squad, right? Shannon killed it. After following up Shannon, I was like, there's no way I can trump her, so I'm just gonna go out there and be myself. Nutritional facts, right? As you progress, you don't have to have nutritional facts per se as you come into market format depending on your product, but as you progress, it's definitely something good to do. And MSU Product Center can help you out with that. All right, pricing. Your company has changed. Has your wholesale cost changed? Probably. So if you've got a distributor, right, they're charging you 19, 20, 25%, but you just got a first order of 20,000 units, right? You're like, holy moly, how am I going to get all this done? So you're like, oh man, I need to hire a bunch of people, bring them all in and do this. But when's the next order, right? You got to think about that. You don't want that 20,000 unit order. You bring all these people in and they make them, and you don't get another order for 3 or 4 months. So you got to think about how long that's going to last the people that ordered it too. You have to understand the quantity, the volume that somebody is going to help you push through a distributor, or what you're going to do with your plan if you decided to go the salesman and merch route. Okay? These are all things that you have to think about. Maybe use temp staffing on that first order just to see how much it takes to do the job right? And then as you start to see the growth come in and the orders come in, then you start to understand what type of staffing you need. But your raw material cost has probably dropped. So now you're paying for distribution, but hopefully if you're going through that many units, you're looking at different co-packers or different people that can provide much larger ingredients to you at a cheaper cost. But if it doesn't end up equaling out, has your cost to the retail consumer changed, right? So you got to look at that going in and be ready for that. If you want to be successful, you have to understand what is still profitable for your business. And if it's not, you can't sit back and not say a word, because you are important to us and you have to be successful. You have to make money and we have to make money, right? All right, I feel like I've said a lot. Did I have it gone over time? I don't even know. But anyways, he's going to really talk about the true partnership. I've had a great time up here. I appreciate you all listening to me. Hopefully you learned something.
I was a little worried because as soon as Mitch said steal, some of you were like, woo! Like,
I know.
take it easy. The crowd's different. So I'm going to stand, I promise, but right now I will tell you, I've been waiting to have this conversation with this crowd for a very long time. So I'm very excited about what I'm about to talk about next. And shortly after I talk about that, we will leave some time for some Q&A. So again, please scan that QR code if you have any questions. After I speak, I will give about 2 or 3 minutes for you guys to do it as well, just to have any extra comments that you may have so we can address it as quickly as possible. So let's go through it again. So you talk to Natalie or one of us, you have the introductory, you set up all those meetings, you follow those instructions, then you get the hot garbage stuff what Alan's talking about.
It's not that bad. It's not that. I love VendorNet at the end of the day because it gives every single one of you an opportunity to be in our stores, right?
Yeah.
So Your attitude determines your altitude, right? So at the end of the day, if you hate the system and you don't want to work with it, guess what? You're not going to work with us. So you make your mind up on it when you get to that point, but I love it because it helps you guys. Sorry, go ahead. I don't want to be the doom and gloom guy. I'm sorry.
I love it. So you go with Rob. We're building relationships, we're creating connections, and then you talk about Mitch with just expansion. None of that happens if you're not a good partner. None of it. We never get to the point of you guys growing and being scalable and taking it to really where you want to go if you're not a good partner. So that's what I wanted to talk about. When I thought about everything that we could kind of put our resources together to do, I thought the most impactful thing for me to talk to you guys is really how we perceive or how you may look to us, right? I think giving you guys a snapshot in time of what it looks like for us, because similar to you all, you know, he talked about wearing different hats, and you are just about every job role in your business. Being a store director for Market Format is just about the same thing. We have a great team, and we could do nothing without the team and the support system, but we wear a lot of hats too, and sometimes we're security if you're in some stores, sometimes, we're a store director, sometimes we're a therapist. You know, it really depends on what the day, and we have to be whatever the day calls for. So that's why I say compartmentalization is one of the most key foundation things that I've found. So let's start. You are your brand. If you could write that down or put it in your sheet, I would greatly appreciate it. You are your brand. So what do you mean by that? Marketing is not just what you do on social media. Marketing is what you do the moment you leave your driveway. You are your brand. That means the moment you walk out and you're leaving that, how you're perceived, you have to be extremely intentional because that is what people are going to look at. So from the guy that you meet at the gas station to the time you walk in the door, the first greeter you may see, all of those things, you have to understand you are representing yourself and you're representing something that's bigger than you. And if you have associates, they are also a representation of what you are. So please understand, it doesn't happen just when you go to customer service and you talk to Natalie and you're being your best self to Natalie. Being your best self is being intentional about it to say, what are my goals for the day? What am I trying to achieve? And what is the purpose of today? If we can figure out what that purpose is, then we can kind of tap into our superpowers and compartmentalize. Because a lot of what happens, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, is you're great today, and we're all human in this room. But tomorrow you had a bad day, something happens, and you're not as great this day. So then some people get it, some people don't get it, and then you talk to me and you're nice. That's not how this works. Our people are brand advocates. The people that work in our stores they've done a phenomenal job of really supporting the businesses. So if you're a good partner, people are going to talk about you. If you're a good salesperson, people are going to talk about you. Good news travels fast, bad news travels faster. So if you are going to do something and be a bad partner and you're not a good partner, that's going to spread like wildfire. And once that happens, what do you expect us to do? That's why I want you guys to take a moment to think about that. Are you being your best self every day? Are you being intentional with that? Are you making sure that when you're getting up to talk to us, that it's not just this person? Don't think anyone is below anyone in our stores. Everybody is just as equal as I am. So please understand that. So it's a mindset. It's a mindset you have to wake up with. And again, not everybody's going to be great, right? Not every day you're going to be an A+. You know, some days you may be feeling it. Some days you might be going through some things. But it's a mindset of what you walk into. But it's something that you have to do in order to be successful, okay? So we'll go to the next thing, which is be your best advocate. I talked to you about the positive feedback. That's good. But really what I want you to know is everybody in this room is great at something. You may be really, really strong at one area, which is fantastic, but really how you improve or how you make yourself better. When we have evaluations of our team members, one of the things I tell my assistants, how do we take our C players to B? How do we make our Bs to As? How do we take our As to A+? How can we get a little bit more out of everybody? And sometimes when you look at it at yourself, you may not have a team yet, but you may figure out, like, how can I just sharpen that iron just a little bit better to do it? To do it, you have to do it and surround yourself by people in this room. Find some people in this room or in your networks that are able to be strong in areas that you are not. And when you're able to leverage those relationships, you can kind of help each other. Because not stealing, leveraging relationships is a very strong part of the business. I like it. Leveraging relationships is a very strong part of the business. And that's something that you guys really got to figure out. You think you're in it alone, you're not. If you had a headache on something, I assure you somebody else has had the same headache. If you had an issue with something, I promise you it is not the first issue that's ever been had. So if you can feel comfortable in your own skin enough to have these conversations with people, you all are each other's support system. That's where you have to understand there is strength in numbers. And everybody in this room has it. You may not feel like you have it, but I assure you, the person to the left, the person to the right of you, have areas of expertise that you do not. Not everybody can be multifaceted, but you don't have to be. That's where hey, you know what? You're doing a great job. Alan is really good in a few areas. You know what, Alan, can I pay you a consulting fee just to help me with this? Can I get a moment of your time to schedule it out? That way you can get better and you can learn. And then you build those relationships and those partnerships to kind of get to the next level. Does that make sense? Everybody needs to do that a little bit more. I think we're so worried about winning. There's enough room in the sandbox for everybody to succeed. I don't want to see people who are selfish and have that, crab in the bucket syndrome and we're trying to stand on top of each other's heads to get to the top. We really need to have more of a partnership to where we're helping each other get to that place. And the best way to do it is to talk to each other and go for that. So being a big advocate for yourself is also being an advocate for others. There are so many people that I've met, and the reason why I shout out certain vendors, I'll give an example. At an Hour Magazine event, I was here today, shout out Hour, plug. We had an Hour Magazine event. I had a good vendor. Mr. Leslie's was out. He was here. I was excited to see him. I invited some other people. Lana's Cheesecake. He's like, I love that lady, man. I know her. I've been following her. Like, good people know good people. So if you're around some people that are good, they're going to easily be able to say, man, you need to talk to this person, or have you tried this? One of the vendors I have later that helped me build the store is Tara from Gus and Gray. She was one of the first people I talked to. Got this job role, and one of the biggest, most influential people I talked to, because she gave me about 65 vendors of great product that I needed to have in my store. If you haven't talked to this person, talk to this. Talk to this person, you need this, I got this for you, I got this for you. And when I was able to do that, I realized that was a core family. Those people were family. They were able to help each other win, in a sense, and that created more sales for everybody. So that's the type of mentality you gotta have when you have it. So be your biggest advocate, but also be open to feedback. Everything you do feels personal because this is your baby, right? This is your child. I want to make sure that this is successful. So it's easy to get very sensitive. But if you know me, you know I'm a straight shooter, so I'm going to tell it like it is. But I'll be honest and direct in a way that makes sense. And if you are going to be sensitive about that, that leaves no room for growth. You're going to cap yourself. You don't want to do things like that to be able to hurt your business. My mother used to say, chew the meat, spit out the bone. Even if somebody is giving you a conversation or something that's happening to you, you may not be able to use this part of the message, but you may be able to use this. A lot of times when communication is happening, people focus on what they don't want to hear or focus on what they do want to hear. That's another reason I had this. I feel like it was a better idea to be able to talk to the masses and for you guys to understand the same message for my store is the same message for Natalie's, the same for Alan's, the same for Rob's, the same for Mitch. Being able to help each other win, obviously, is good, but if you're going to be sensitive, you're never going to get to that point. You have to understand that there is growth, right? Everything you want is on the other side of hard. So if you can get past that difficulty, that sensitivity, you're going to be able to do more with your brand and your brand will expand. But if you say, you know what, no, my mama gave me this recipe, it's good, and I say, it ain't. Sorry, it's not hitting. I'm trying to help you win. That's not me trying to tell you this so you can not succeed. That's me telling you something like maybe we tweak this, or maybe we do this, or maybe it's packaging and branding. Maybe it's really not the taste that's off-putting, it's the look that's off-putting. You know what I mean? If you're making ketchup, it's gonna be hard to compete with Heinz, right? That's a national brand that's been around a long time, but people want to buy local. People want to buy your product. As a matter of fact, they come to our stores to buy your product. So if you have a storytelling or a good label, that's going to sell a lot more than somebody, and they're willing to give you a chance or a try because people are willing to spend a little bit more on local at times to be able to get quality and get something that means difference because they want to feel good about what they're eating. The customer base has changed a little bit. Typically, the only time, and I think Natalie would agree with me on this, is people buy what their parents bought, what their parents bought during the holiday season. My mom baked with this Domino sugar. I'm going to bake with Domino sugar. This is what it is. Now some people are like, you know what, I'm willing to give this a shot. I'm willing to give you a shot. I'm willing to give this a try if it makes the most sense or really what's trendy, right? Have you noticed that trends sell more and then they sell out? That's like a flash in a pan. You want to build consistent revenue and consistent sales. So the best way to do it is to be intentional. I've said that 100 times now. Be intentional with what you're doing and your product to say, what does this look like? Have some of those sessions where you meet with some of your vendors and get all in the same room and say, you know what can I do to make this better? How can we improve? How can I take this from good to great? That way I can maximize my full potential in this. A lot of times what I see is, and the best feedback that I could give you, people want to start too big too soon. I got 8 varieties of tissue. What? What are you talking about? Scale it down, make sure that you are great at 2 or 3 things, and then you can expand after you've mastered the 2 or 3 things that you've had. But if you're coming out the gate with this, I can only sell 2, you're wasting your time, you're wasting money, you're wasting effort, you're wasting energy, you're paying labor to do these other things, and these 6 won't sell, but these 2 will. So let's focus in on what makes a difference versus the things that do not make a difference. Does that make sense? Thank you. So we'll go to the next thing, effective demoing. We're going to play a little story on this. Very, very happy about this one. So demoing is probably one of the biggest keys that you can have in our business, really in any business that you have. But our business in particular, because we have Meet the Makers events, but I'll be honest, anytime you're demoing in a store, that's a Meet the Maker event. They're getting a chance to meet you. They're getting a chance to understand who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it. And it's a chance for you to tell your story to get people to buy your products. Customers know what's real and what's fake. If your energy is off when you're demoing, they're not going to come see you. That is just a common thing. Again, I know people who have great product who cannot market themselves very well, and I know people who have okay product but market it great, and everybody goes to it because of what they're selling, and they're selling themselves. When you're in front of that demo table, I understand a lot of people go through things. I would say please make sure you leave that at the door, because what you don't realize is perspective. Perspective is that a customer who's walking through the door might be going through something just as much as you, if not more. So if you're standing there demoing a product, hi ma'am, how you doing? They don't give you the time of day today. There's no need of getting upset about that person saying a sly remark and an attitude, because what they may not do today, they may do the next time. Because if they see you consistently in the store, they will then say, you know what, I didn't give her a try last time, or maybe I'm not thinking, and I got a lot on my head, or I got to hurry up and get the kids. I got a grocery store list, let me get in and get out. I don't have time to try it, but maybe the next time, or the next time they see it, they're able to do it, because they may not understand what the product is, but everybody gravitates to positive energy. So if you're sitting there and you're demoing, and you're still the same person, and you are as consistent as your product, and when I say as consistent as your product, please make sure you're trying your product before you hand it to somebody else. Please. I've had people that I'll come up to, and literally I'm the first person of the day. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Great, try this. And I'm like, all right, I'll try it, and it's cold. Why is it cold? I just got here. I know you just got here. This should be hot. But she would have known that if she would have stirred, done something else to be able to help themselves. But first impression is everything. First impression is everything based off taste, but also how you look and how you feel. So again, let's go back a little bit. You're walking in, hi, how are you? Whatever your pitch is, you're trying to talk to them. They feel you radiate that energy. They're like, man, I don't know what this is, but I like this person. I really want to go further with this person. You know what? I met a good person today. And they're going to tell 3 to 4 to 5 people. But the flip side of that is if they meet somebody who is terrible, they're going to tell 20 people, and they're going to put you online, and they're going to put you and write a Reddit review. They're going to put a nice, well-written email and bash you. Like it's a thing. So make sure that you are being your best self in these demos, because it's not just how good the product is, it is who you are. They are buying a piece of you, they want to believe in you, and they want to be supporters of what you're trying to do so you can take it to the next level, right? Everybody hear me when I say that? So please understand, demoing is just as important as having the product there as it is with you being present where it is. And a lot of times what I find with people who demo in our store are they just can't get right because they let outside things mess them up. So if you're present where your feet are, if you are where your feet are and you are here. So for the next 3 hours, I'm demoing. So guess what? I'm at Rivertown Market from 12 to 3, and I'm here. Everything else can wait. Once I get out of this, we can get back. That's what I mean by compartmentalization. Take that hat off, put this hat on. If you're a mom, if you're a father, your kids got some stuff going on, you got school, that's fine. Everybody has that. But for a quick second, for 3 hours, when you're demoing in this store, be your best self. Do the best thing that you can do to help sell your product, because you want continuous success. A lot of things that people talk about when we demo, we sell out. The next day I'm calling somebody, I'm like, hey, can you bring in more product? And they're like, what do you mean? I sold it all yesterday. And I'm like, no, well, now we got the next day. What about today? It's Monday. And nobody does it, so then they don't come back until Thursday. You just missed out on 3 days of sales. You were hot. You were hot. If you're hot in these streets, be hot in these streets. Like, go sell the products. If you're not going to do it, it means nothing. Attitude is everything, and I'm glad Natalie talked about it on the communication piece. We've had people that are sometimes in our stores. I led this conversation, if you recall in the welcome, where I said, some of you are already asking to go to super centers. You're not even here. People are so ready to expand, they don't think about what it takes to nurture their relationships. Life is all about relationships. If you can make positive impact in relationships and continue to grow, and don't forget about your original customer, you will win. The problem that we have is some people grow, and they grow a little too fast or a little too big, and then they forget that we are the customer still. It's not just the customer that purchases, it's the people that you're selling it to. It's us. So if we're your customer, don't turn your back on your customer. We have people that put stuff up in stores. We've had a relationship with them for 2 or 3 years. That's fantastic. What happens after the 2 or 3 years? They get a little big, they get, chest poked out a little bit. I made $600. Like, cool. So, but then what happens is we try to do these relationships and we try to go further, and then they forget about it and they're like, well, I'm all over the place. That doesn't mean that this store doesn't matter. If your immediate excuse is, well, I'm here and I'm there and I was on TikTok and they bought my stuff at the Eastern Market, that's great. I'm glad that you had that success. But what is sustained success? How do you make that more scalable and more consistent? You have to be ready to blow up. People want to blow up so bad, but it's not just about winning in that moment. You want to win long term. You could have won yesterday. That no longer matters because it was yesterday. What are you doing today to make an impact in your own business as well as impact our stores? That way we create partnerships that we want to have long lasting. And as Rob eloquently put it, have partners for the long haul. Our goal is to never have you guys for a little bit. Our goal is to have these relationships and build you and help you, catapult you, give you a little lift up to get to the next level, which leads me into my last thing. Please don't think that you are so big that we cannot kick you out. Younger in my management career, I used to have to hype myself up to fire people. I'd be like, yeah, get angry, drink some coffee. They're like, yeah. Then I realized you don't really have to do that. The same way you can hire somebody with a smile on your face, you can do it because at the point of exit, we have already had conversation. We already know what this is. And now it is time to move on. The same thing can be said with vendor partnership. And what I mean by that is we give people ample opportunity to respond to emails, to return phone calls. But if I have to find you to sell your product, that just tells me you're not really that interested. I should not have to find you. You should not have to ask me, what are my sales? That makes me feel like you are not invested in your own product. The wonderful VendorNet system, sorry, Alan, the wonderful VendorNet system will tell you. And if you need to navigate that, we have inventory managers that will teach you. We have plenty of guys to be able to help you guys. But the purpose is to know what you're selling and know how you're doing in business, but also coming in the stores for a reason. People come into my store and they say, I want to sell my products in Rivertown Market. My first question is usually why. And that's when I get the duh. They just want to sell their product in Meijer. It's not about taking a quick selfie inside of a store to say that my mom made it, I'm in Meijer. You can lose it quickly just as fast as you got it. So it's the relationships that you build. It's the people, how you treat them when you walk in the building, from the greeter at the door to the utility guy who's in the restroom, the person in produce, even though your product is somewhere else, it's being friendly, it's being nice, it's being genuine, and it's helping us because Market Format is based on doing good business with good people every day. So if we can help the good people win, we will. There's enough people in the world who are winning. We want to help these people get to the next level, who are really making a difference in the community, who really are men and women of their word, and who are trying to take it to the next level so we can get there. All right, everybody with me? We were talking this is a pretty dark slide, but I felt like it was pretty necessary to say because people think that once I got in, I can't get out. There are 100 people that sell what you sell, and they are trying to take your spot. And if they are just as hungry, if not more hungry than you, we are willing to give that person an opportunity, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of making money. We would love to be able to help you guys reach your ultimate goals and your dreams. But as good of a partner as you are will help us get you to that point. But if you are not that person, we cannot keep our commitment on the end of the deal because you are not keeping your commitment. So with that, I'll give you guys about 2 or 3 minutes. We're right about 20 minutes right now left. I'll give you guys about 3 minutes to fill out your QR codes. If you have any questions for us, we're going to take a little sip of water, then we'll get going. I got some questions ready to go, and then we'll spend our last about 15, 20 minutes doing that before I let you guys go to lunch, all right? Thank you. I love this question, so I wanted to say it first. How will you market my product/brand? That is not my job. That's actually your job. So it's a great question. I'm not marketing anything. You're marketing your product, and then we help push your product at that point. We are partners in this. I think the thing that people always get kind of misconstrued about the whole thing is, well, now I'm in Meijer. Meijer gonna push it. Like, what? No, that's not how this works. So by being a good partner and doing it makes a lot of sense. But Alan told you he talked to 300 vendors, right? That means that would be 300 people we will have to push. That's a lot. So there's people that have to wait in line to get their products pushed because it may not make sense, right? Our marketing managers do a lot of hard work and put things together to create grids, to make sure the time of year, the products that we're pushing, the events we're having, all of those make sense. So they're very much scheduled. So it's almost like getting yourself ready to be on the schedule. But also, like, let's say if I have pierogies, and I know this is National Pierogi Month, I would want to make sure, like, hey, marketing manager, please understand that this is here. These are my posts that I'm scheduling. Would love it if you guys can push it on these days. Let's see how we can partner. If that makes sense, then do it. But if it's something where I got hot sauce and it's Thanksgiving and I just want to sell it, can you please push my product? Sure, we'll try to get to it when we can. But if it's a holiday selling season, we're going to push things that are holiday selling related. So make sure that you're sensitive to the idea of timing is everything in business, and you want to strike while you're hot. So just make sure you do that. So marketing is not our responsibility. We will push, we will boost, we will do whatever we can to assist in marketing, but ultimately it is yours. But stay tuned, 1 o'clock, John's going to give you some great information on marketing. So that's that. What are some reasons why you remove a product from the shelf or remove a vendor from the store? I feel like I answered that pretty well, but I would like to kind of pass to some of my counterparts. Feel free to jump in on some reasons where you may have pushed a vendor out. Obviously, everybody knows if you're not a good partner at Rivertown Market and you're not doing what it takes, if you're not being responsive on emails, if you're not calling, if you're not following up, if we don't have at least a monthly follow-up, and no, it's probably not going to work out, but some of the other managers may have some other things.
Lack of communication typically is it, right? We've reached out countless times and they're just not getting back to us, or they give us a 3-day lead time and 10 days later the product shows up, right? Just be honest with us, have open and honest communication with the entire store team. Make sure it's not always just with me. It should be with the area leads within the area as well.
We stop right there for a quick second.
Yeah.
Please make sure it's not just the store manager. We put people in place. We have people in place for a reason. So if you are in the grocery department and you're selling something in grocery or bakery, let's just say bakery for the time being, we have fresh assistants or bakery managers. Those should be your first point of contacts. What grinds our gears the most, if you will, are people who just jump ahead and immediately think, well, I got Marcus' number, I'm gonna just call him. Don't do that. We have other people in place. There's other people to talk to, because what do you expect me to do? I'm just gonna go straight back to that bakery manager and say, hey, what's going on here? They're gonna tell me that you never talked to them, you never tried. Or, hey, they sent me an email, I responded, they never sent me an email back. I waited a week, they still didn't send me an email back, they still didn't send me an email back, and now they come to me disgruntled saying that we didn't respond to them. That is typically what I get in the market, so thank you for saying that, Mitch.
Marcus, I also want to add, we understand that you're busy as well. And there could be opportunity with packaging and bottling where you're waiting on more glass bottles to come in. So it's important that we have the empathy as well. We understand, hey, I can't get my salsa in the next 4 weeks because I'm waiting on it. As long as we know, like Mitch said, as long as we know that you have an opportunity, we'll be compassionate and we'll wait. And so when you come back in, we'll celebrate.
Being realistic about what you're providing us is also a key piece for us. If you overcommit to something and it can't be provided, that's also a key piece for us that, hey, this person may not be as dedicated as we originally thought.
So another question we got, And I think this is a good question for the group, for everybody, and I hope you would do it with not just our stores, but everybody else. If we are not selected as a vendor, how do we receive feedback to improve? Just ask. Our format stores are a lot different than a typical grocery store where we're not going to exit the business without giving factual information on what it is. Sometimes the numbers are the numbers, but what did you do to improve your numbers, right? What did you do to help your numbers increase, or what happened to where your numbers did not increase? Or does it make sense for the store? Again, when I ask somebody, hey, why do you want to be in Rivertown Market? They just want to be in the store. They don't necessarily want to be in my store. But if you have a trade area where it's like, hey, Marcus, I want to be in Rivertown Market because I know that this trade area, all of my customers are going. Based off social media, based off sales. When I do demos at the Eastern Market, I know my customer base is here. That's why I need to be at Rivertown Market. That makes me feel like you're invested. A step further of that is what Natalie was saying earlier. Take a walk in the store. Don't just walk in the store and say, I want to be here. Like, where do you see yourself inside of our locations? Like, hey, I would think I would match up well with this. I've shopped your store for a while. I've noticed you sell a lot of blank. I would be a great asset to you because I can do this. Have a vision and a clear plan on what makes sense to be able to sell product inside the stores. Okay? You guys got anything for that? The last question I have, and then I'll kick it to Mitch to see if he has any for him. Are services like Range Me worth the cost to join? Sure. Are services like Range Me worth the cost to join? The answer is yes, if you're trying to expand across the United States. If you are looking to really get into a service that we look at, I would say PMBC, MEDC, all of our partners who are in this building today, those are the people we really look at. Those are the people we utilize to be able to find more local products. You got to understand our pillars are local, pillars are fresh. Who knows the last one? I might give you a flower. Who knows the last? All right. She used to work for us. Don't worry about it. No flower for you. But yeah, so local is the biggest piece. So we want to make sure that, so in order for us to find local, I would tell you when I open a store, I use Range Me to find some vendors. But I would tell you the vendors that I really like connecting with are from PMBC, MEDC, because I know that they're grassroots, they're from Michigan, and all of those things make a lot of sense. Got it? Mitch, you got some questions?
Sure do. Do you want me to stand? Or
You can sit.
Okay. How can a business working with more than one location easily distribute their products? There's no easy way, right? Yeah, I guess find somebody that loves to drive, you know? That's what I would do. No, I think I understand where we're going with this. But obviously, I think easily always comes with a cost. So, I mean, if you're getting to the point where you're overexposed, you know, as a 1 or 2 person team, you just got to start investing back into it. And if you got to raise your costs a little bit to your retailers, hopefully they can still offer your product at a value or premium value depending on your product. That's the way that I would look at it, honestly. There's no easy way to get your product distributed out. I mean, sometimes you can work with different accounts. Sometimes they have an ability to take a little bit of extra stock. A lot of times in our stores, we do not. You know, I think it's funny, I was thinking about this earlier. There's been countless times where I've had vendors, and I tell them, you know, they're coming into the store, and they're like, so what's your first order? And I'm like, you know, I'll take 3 cases of that, and 2 of that, and 2 of that one. And they're like, I thought you were going to buy like a pallet. And I'm like, no, like we don't have the ability to store all that in these accounts. So I think, you know, understanding what you're getting into is always important as well. This is something I thought about earlier.
Do you think I can jump in with one of mine real quick? Because it kind of plays onto that. One of the questions I get is, if chosen as a vendor, what would the minimum order size be? This varies definitely, number one, from the products that you have. Depending on what the product is, it may be a 1 or a 2 case order, and that's all that we can handle, and it's all we can take right now, and we'd love to get you and put you on the shelves, and let's roll with that. It might be a 5 to 10 case order, and we put a stack somewhere, put it on an end cap, and we want to really push this product. The other thing that I want to drive home is as y'all grow into other stores or different stores, understand that each one of our stores or the stores in market format are different. We have stores doing almost double what some other stores do. And you may, just because you sell 12 cases a week in one store, you may only sell 2 cases a week in another store. Make sure that makes sense to your business model to take on that building, to be able to go from spot to spot. So I know I went on a little bit of a rant there, but yes, I would say it can be anything from a case to two for a minimum order for someone that doesn't want or have the ability to give a whole pallet to a store to sell, up to 5 to 10 to 20 cases, depending on what the product is.
So recently I've had some products, and I totally agree with Rob. That's why I said have a vision for where your product is for you to sell it. Don't just come in my store and then say, well, why am I not selling here? This doesn't make sense. You definitely have to have a vision for yourself. There are some people, we usually start with small case amounts. Recently, I started selling this Jamaican pineapple drink at the front. It has sold so fast in the past 4 weeks that now I do have a pallet of it because that's how much I can sell in the next few days. So if you can get to that point, it's not impossible. Is it likely? Usually not as much unless you're doing a lot of demo and other things, but it is possible, but typically we start off with small case amounts. Alan, you got one you want to address?
Yeah, so what are the biggest lessons you've learned through trial by fire? I love referencing music, so I'm going to reference Elvis. A little less conversation, a little more action. All right, so I've had conversations with so many vendors, and they're like, yeah, we want to be a part of the market, really excited. And I'm like Tiger on the 18th. I'm just like, yeah, this vendor's going to be great. I'm so pumped, I'm excited. Then they disappear. They're like Houdini. I can't find them. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to complete the applications. They don't want to return the emails, right? How many times have you heard all of us talk about communication, right? Everyone wants to, be there and do it, but nobody wants to do the work sometimes. So for me, having a conversation and getting that commitment from a vendor, it's not real until they do the work. And that is so important because we can all make promises, but it's not the promises we make, it's the promises we keep. And doing that work and putting in that effort and communicating is critical. So for me, that's probably the biggest thing I've learned so far.
Thank you, Alan. Natalie, you got one you want to take away?
Yeah. So the question I have here is, who do I connect with if I want to schedule a demo? And I like to take it back to what Marcus said earlier when he was talking about effective demoing. It's not just demoing. It's meeting the makers. And so if you're interested in spending time in our store out of your busy days, because we all know that you have your own family and your own jobs, that if you have an interest, we're going to make it work. So whether you connect with myself or one of my assistant managers or somebody on our team through an email, through a phone call, and we will set it up. We also have another online booking link where you can just join and sign up there. But the key and takeaway is we're going to make it work. We all have big enough buildings in our store to make sure that if you want to take time out of a weekend to come in and sample and tell your story about your product, we're not going to say no. So I just want to make it clear that we'll make it work and we will schedule. We will definitely schedule and help you with that.
All right, with that, I don't want to impede into you guys' lunchtime, so it's almost 12 o'clock. I believe lunch is already out there, so we should be good to go. If you guys want to go ahead, we'll see you back at 1 o'clock. Look forward to the next meeting. Thank you.
Boom.
Look at that.